Arsenal will play AC Milan in the last 16 of the Europa League. Arsene Wenger's side have reached that stage of the competition despite losing 2-1 at home against Östersund on Thursday evening. They won the away leg 3-0. The Gunners were the last team drawn from the pot on Friday afternoon, meaning they will be the away side in the first leg of their tie. AC Milan reached the last 16 with a 4-0 aggregate win against Ludogorets. Arsene Wenger's Arsenal side will take on AC Milan in the last 16 of the Europa League. It means he will take on AC Milan's manager Gennaro Gattuso. When the two teams meet, Barcelona legend Eric Abidal drew the two teams out of the hat on Friday afternoon. Abidal plucked out Milan first, before picking Arsenal as the away team in the draw-related article's previous one. Next, Arsene Wenger has never won the League Cup, but he still Arsenal and Manchester City fans will get new VAR alert. Arsene Wenger confident Mesut Ozil and Aaron Ramsey will be Arsenal boss Arsene Wenger hits back at Roy Keane claim that. Share this article. Share one. $6K shares full Europa League last 16 draw. Lazio v Dynamo Kiev, Leipzig v Zenit Street. Petersburg Atletico Madrid v Lokomotiv Moscow v Lyon, Marseille v Athletic Bilbao, Sporting Lisbon v Victoria Plzen, Borussia Dortmund v Red Bull Salzburg. AC Milan the 5th. Arsenal first leg date March 8. Second leg date March 15. The first leg at the San Siro will take place on March 8, kicking off at 6 p.m. UK time, while Milan will visit the Emirates a week later on March 15, with an 8 p.m. kickoff. Arsenal's most recent European meeting with AC Milan saw them exit the competition with a 4-3 loss on aggregate in the 2011-2012 edition of the Champions League. Milan are led by Gennaro Gattuso, the former midfield general who has been handed the manager's role despite a lack of experience at the top level. Gattuso famously clashed with then Tottenham assistant manager Joe Jordan when his Milan side took on Spurs in the Champions League in 2011. He headbutted the former Manchester United and Leeds player during a touchline row. Gattuso famously clashed with then Tottenham assistant manager Joe Jordan in 2011. The fiery midfield general ended up headbutting the former Manchester United player, winning the Europa League as Arsenal's best hope of qualifying for the Champions League next season. They are currently 8 points behind fourth-place Chelsea in the Premier League. Meanwhile, Atletico Madrid will take on Lokomotiv Moscow. City rivals CSKA Moscow were drawn against Lyon, who will host the final in their stadium. Lazio will host Dynamo Kiev in the first game drawn from the pot, while RB Leipzig will take on Zenit Street. Petersburg, who beat Celtic on Thursday night. Marseille have been named as the home side for their first leg when they take on Spanish side Athletic Bilbao. Sporting Lisbon have been handed a tie against Victoria Plzen. Borussia Dortmund will also take on Red Bull Salzburg. AC Milan Q&A ahead of game show. Did AC Milan start the season? Was a lot expected of them. AC Milan were one of the biggest players on the transfer market in Europe this summer. Everyone stood up and took notice when they splashed €174.6 million, £153 million on new signings. Even more notable was the sort of players they were signing. Leonardo Bonucci, a €42 million addition from Juventus, saw them sign one of the most coveted defenders in Europe, snapping him up from a rival to boot. It seemed as though this apparently newly moneyed side had everything going for them. Leonardo Bonucci's arrival at AC Milan made the football world sit up and take notice. That said, doubts arose very early on about the new owners of the club, and there were suggestions that the funding was not really there. Bonucci's transfer was temporarily held up, and there was a delay in him making his debut as a result. But it was still a shock when they were heavily off the pace by the end of November. A 0-0 draw against Torino meant they were 18 points behind leaders Napoli and had no hope of challenging them. That ended Vincenzo Montella's time in the dugout. He was quickly replaced by Gennaro Gattuso. Gennaro Gattuso was appointed as the Milan manager towards the end of November. Was appointing Gattuso much of a risk? Absolutely. The former Milan midfielder was in charge of the club's Primavera youth team when he was given the call. Known more for his fury than any coaching nous, he left Pisa twice in the space of a year. He also tendered his resignation while in charge of Crete and left Sion, the first club he managed, after just 4 months. This is not, on paper, the manager to lead you to a Champions League berth. He was something of a risk. His previous managerial record did not bode well for Milan. What has Gennaro Gattuso changed in the side? He has played Giacomo Bonaventura, which is different to Montella. His use of 4 at the back in some games has made Milan more solid. And his manner on the touchline means they have been given a bounce. Montella was a bit disconnected from on-field matters. In a surprising choice, Fabio Borini has been given a chance up front rather than as a left wing back. That has worked for Milan. In the main, though, he has been picking many of the same players that his predecessor did. And they are in the same position they were under Montella, 7th. Gattuso has been a much more frequent user of Giacomo Bonaventura, who has started tell me about him letting the players hit him on the head. Gattuso is well aware that he demands a lot of his players and spends a lot of time screaming at them. So he has come up with an unconventional way of motivating them after a good result. The club legend stands in the middle of the team and allows his players to slap him on the head. His explanation: "I do it to make the players happy. There are one or two who won't get into the team, and so they start to look at me funny." In that moment there, they have the chance to give me a click round the ear. I go and stand in the middle of the huddle, and that way I make sure no one tries to hit me in the changing room. Gattuso and his players have a tradition of slapping the manager's head post-match. What has their form under him been like? It has been decent while not being particularly spectacular. They have not lost a game since December, a run of 11 games without defeat for the San Siro club. And they have won each of their last 4 games, including tricky away visits to Spal and Ludogorets. But, as mentioned before, it has not been good enough to see them climb up the league under Gattuso. It is, though, more solid than Europa League opponents Arsenal. Who have been their stars this season. Patrick Utrin, who made his debut at the end of last season, has impressed after being given opportunities. The 20-year-old striker has scored 5 goals in his 18 games. A double against Spal earlier this month has upped his reputation even further. Giacomo Bonaventura has been restored to the starting lineup under Gattuso. The 28-year-old midfielder repaid the manager's faith with a winning goal against Sampdoria. Suso, the former Liverpool winger, has flattered to deceive since joining Milan. But he has been in excellent form under Gattuso, scoring a stunning long range against Udinese. Academy product Patrick Utrin has been a surprise star for the side this campaign. And is there anyone who has struggled unexpectedly? Gianluigi Donnarumma was one of the best young players in Europe last season, but has struggled under the weight of pressure this time out. Has feuded with the Milan fans amid suggestions he's keen to leave the San Siro. Ricardo Rodriguez cost the club €17 million in the summer, arriving as one of Europe's most coveted left-backs. He has not lived up to his reputation and has only played in 2 of the last 4 games. Lucas Biglia is another player who came in with a big reputation. Has not been up to his usual level, providing no assists all season and scoring just once. Gianluigi Donnarumma has not been the same player that impressed last season. Mesut Ozil, left, will be up against Milan's expensive summer signing Leonardo Bonucci, right. Related articles. Previous one. Next, Arsene Wenger has never won the League Cup, but he still Arsenal and Manchester City fans will get new VAR alert. Arsene Wenger confident Mesut Ozil and Aaron Ramsey will be Arsenal boss Arsene Wenger hits back at Roy Keane claim that. Share this article. Share 1. 6K shares.